Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into something truly incredible, the power of mindset. Get ready to discover how changing your thinking can truly change your life.
It's amazing how often we operate on autopilot,
Yeah.
letting our thoughts control us rather than the other way around. It's like we're passengers in our own lives instead of being in the driver's seat.
It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and not even realize how much our thoughts are shaping our experiences. Like we're just reacting to whatever comes our way.
Exactly. And that's where the power of mindset comes in.
Yeah.
This isn't about denying life's challenges. It's about equipping ourselves with the mental tools to navigate them.
So instead of just reacting, we can actually choose how we respond. But that brings us to, I think, a really important question. What exactly does mindset over matter mean? It's more than just positive thinking, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about understanding how our thoughts directly influence our actions and ultimately our outcomes.
Right.
There's a concept in psychology called the self-fulfilling prophecy, which basically means that our beliefs about ourselves and the world tend to manifest.
Oh, interesting.
If we believe we're capable of achieving something, we're more likely to take actions that lead to that outcome.
Uh,
But if we're plagued by self-doubt, those doubts can become roadblocks.
so our thoughts aren't just some abstract things floating around in our heads. They actually have a real impact.
Exactly.
Okay, so then how do we start to identify and challenge those limiting beliefs?
Yeah, those negative stories that we tell ourselves that hold us back.
Yeah.
We've all got them. I'm not good enough. I'll never be able to do that, and so on.
Those pesky voices can be so loud sometimes.
But here's the thing. They're not the truth.
Okay.
They're just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. Take the Wright brothers, for example. Imagine the limiting beliefs they must have faced back then.
I can't even imagine.
Humans can't fly. It's impossible.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't let those prevailing beliefs stop them. They had a vision, a belief in their ability to make it happen. And look what they accomplished. They've literally changed the world.
Such a powerful example. Makes you realize how many times we probably limit ourselves because of those internal narratives that we've created.
It really does.
And it sounds like it comes down to this idea of shifting our mindset from, fixed, where we believe our abilities are set in stone, to growth, where we see challenges as opportunities.
Absolutely. The Wright brothers weren't born knowing how to build an airplane. They had to experiment, fail, and learn from those failures. It was that willingness to embrace the process, to keep growing, that ultimately led to their success.
So it's not just about having a positive mindset. It's about having a mindset that's open to learning, evolving, pushing beyond those limitations.
Exactly. And that brings us to the critical role of action. It's not enough to just think about changing our mindset. We have to actually put those thoughts into practice.
Okay, so action is key. It's like having a great idea, but never taking those steps to make it a reality.
Precisely. Think of it like this. Our thoughts are the blueprint, but action is the construction crew that brings that blueprint to life.
I like that.
And this is where persistence and resilience come into play because, let's face it, we're not always going to get it right on the first try. There will be setbacks, challenges, and moments when we want to give up.
So easy to get discouraged when we hit those roadblocks.
But here's the thing. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Think about Thomas Edison and his quest to invent the light bulb. He reportedly conducted over 10,000 experiments before he found a solution that worked. Imagine if he had given up after the first 1,000 failures.
Wow. His story really highlights that power of perseverance. But I think for a lot of us, failure feels so personal, like a reflection of our worth, not just, a step on the path.
That's where reframing comes in.
Okay.
Instead of seeing failure as a personal defeat, we can choose to see it as valuable feedback, a learning opportunity. Each failure brings us one step closer to finding what works.
So it's not about avoiding failure, but changing our relationship with it.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's a key element of resilience. It's not about never falling. It's about getting back up stronger each time we do.
I love that.
There's a Japanese proverb that says, fall 7 times, stand up 8.
It's not about how many times we fall, but about our determination to rise up.
Right. And when we develop that resilience, those setbacks become less intimidating. They become opportunities for growth, for refinement, for coming back even stronger. Think about Michael Jordan. He was cut from his high school basketball team, but he didn't let that define him.
Yeah.
He used that experience as fuel to work even harder.
Amazing how some of the most successful people have faced significant setbacks along the way.
It's true.
It makes you realize that those challenges can actually be catalysts for extraordinary growth.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that we all have that same potential within us.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of mindset, the power of our thoughts, and the role of action and resilience. But there's another element we need to address.
Yeah.
It's the impact of the people we surround ourselves with.
Ah, yes. The company we keep.
Right.
It can either elevate us or hold us back. There's a saying that goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Wow, that's a powerful statement. It makes you really consider the energy and the mindset of the people in your inner circle.
Exactly. It challenges us to ask ourselves, are the people around us inspiring us, supporting our growth, and challenging us to be our best selves? Or are they draining our energy, reinforcing our limiting beliefs, and holding us back from reaching our full potential?
Yeah. It's easy to underestimate the influence our social circle has on our thoughts and actions.
Absolutely. Think about it. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are negative, pessimistic, and afraid to take risks, those attitudes can start to rub off on you. It's like being in a room filled with secondhand smoke. You can't help but inhale some of it.
Right. And on the flip side, if you're surrounded by people who are positive, supportive, and driven, their energy can be contagious.
It can.
It can lift you up and inspire you to reach for more.
Precisely. That's why it's so important to be mindful of the company we keep.
So it's not just about changing our own mindset. It's about aligning ourselves with people who support that growth.
Exactly. And that sometimes means making tough decisions about relationships that may no longer be serving us. It's about prioritizing our own growth and creating space for people who inspire and empower us.
You mentioned earlier how our beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies. I imagine that having a supportive network of people who believe in you can have a huge impact on your ability to achieve your goals.
Absolutely. It's like having a team of cheerleaders cheering you on every step of the way. Their belief in you can bolster your own self-belief, giving you the courage to push through challenges and take risks.
It's a reminder that we don't have to do this alone. We can lean on each other, inspire each other, and celebrate each other's successes.
Exactly. It's about finding our tribe.
Right.
Those people who get us, who believe in our vision, and who want to see us succeed.
This has been so insightful. We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
But there's one more crucial element we need to explore: the power of belief.
Ah, yes.
Belief is the fuel that drives action and turns dreams into reality.
It is. It's what allows us to see possibilities where others see limitations.
Right.
It gives us the courage to step outside our comfort zones and pursue those seemingly impossible dreams.
But sometimes belief can feel elusive. What if we're struggling to believe in ourselves or our ability to achieve our goals?
That's a great question. And it's important to acknowledge that belief doesn't always come naturally. Sometimes we have to fake it till you make it.
So even if we don't feel 100% confident, we can act as if we do.
Precisely. And here's the thing. Our actions can actually influence our beliefs.
How interesting.
When we start acting as if we believe in ourselves, our minds start to catch up. It's like we're training our brains to believe by demonstrating belief through our actions.
So it's like we're rewiring our thinking by changing our behavior.
Exactly. And the more we act in alignment with our desired beliefs, the stronger those beliefs become. It's a self-reinforcing cycle.
This reminds me of the stories of people who achieved extraordinary things despite facing immense challenges.
Yeah.
People like, J.K. Rowling, who was rejected by multiple publishers before finding success with Harry Potter, or Steve Jobs, who faced countless setbacks while building Apple.
Those are perfect examples. They didn't achieve what they did because they were magically gifted with unwavering belief from day one. They faced doubts, rejections, and failures, but their commitment to their vision, their willingness to keep taking action even when they didn't feel like it, fueled their belief.
So it's not about waiting for belief to magically appear. It's about taking action even when we don't feel 100% confident.
Exactly. And as we take action, as we see ourselves overcoming challenges and achieving small wins, our belief in ourselves begins to grow.
This is so empowering. It's a reminder that we all have the power to cultivate belief within ourselves, even when it feels like it's lacking.
Absolutely. And this brings us to a powerful question that I want you to consider. What would happen if you started believing in yourself the way others believe in you?
Wow, that's a really thought-provoking question. It's like a challenge to step into our own potential and recognize the power within us.
Exactly. It's about silencing those inner critics, quieting those doubts, and choosing to believe in our own capacity to achieve extraordinary things. It can be a real game changer when we start to see ourselves through the eyes of those who believe in us. It's like we're finally giving ourselves permission to embrace our full potential.
Yeah. It's interesting because we've been talking about this power of belief,
Right.
but belief alone isn't enough, is it?
No, it's like having a car with a full tank of gas,
Right.
but never turning the key. We need to take action.
So true. Action is that engine,
It is.
propels us forward. It's that bridge between thought and reality.
Okay.
But taking action can be scary, especially when we're, stepping outside our comfort zones or pursuing those big goals. So where do we even begin?
That feeling of overwhelm is completely normal. The key is to break those big goals down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Right.
It's like climbing a mountain. We don't try to reach the summit in one giant leap.
Right.
We focus on one step at a time.
So instead of getting paralyzed by that enormity of our goals,
Mhm.
we can create a roadmap with smaller milestones.
Exactly. And each small step we take builds momentum. It's like pushing a snowball down a hill.
Okay.
At first, it might seem small and insignificant,
Right.
but as it rolls, it gathers more and more snow, gaining momentum and power.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But, I think what holds a lot of people back is that fear of failure.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in those what ifs and let those fears just paralyze us.
You're absolutely right. Fear can be a powerful obstacle, but remember what we talked about earlier? Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey.
I know logically that failure is part of growth, but emotionally, it can still feel pretty daunting.
I hear you, and that's why it's so important to shift our perspective on failure. Instead of seeing it as a sign of weakness or inadequacy, we can choose to see it as valuable feedback, as data that helps us refine our approach.
So it's like those 10,000 experiments that Thomas Edison conducted, right?
Exactly.
Each one provided him with information that led him to the solution.
And this is where resilience comes into play.
Okay.
It's that ability to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from our mistakes, and to keep moving forward with a renewed sense of determination.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that resilience is like this muscle that gets stronger with use. So how do we build that resilience muscle?
One of the most effective ways to build resilience is to embrace discomfort.
Okay.
Think about physical exercise. If we only lift weights that feel easy, our muscles won't get stronger.
Uh-huh.
We need to push ourselves beyond our comfort zones to see real growth. The same principle applies to mental resilience.
So we need to challenge ourselves, step outside of those comfort zones, and embrace those moments of discomfort as, like, opportunities.
Exactly. And here's another key to building resilience: self-care. It's essential to prioritize our physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
That makes sense. It's hard to be mentally resilient when we're running on empty.
Right. It's like trying to drive a car with a flat tire. It's just not going to get us very far. When we take care of ourselves through, healthy eating, exercise, sleep, activities that bring us joy, we're better equipped to handle challenges and setbacks.
So it's a holistic approach,
Yeah.
taking care of our minds and our bodies so we can show up as our best selves.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that we don't have to do this alone. Having a support system can make a huge difference in our ability to navigate challenges and build resilience.
Right. We talked earlier about the importance of surrounding ourselves with those right people. So how can we actually cultivate relationships that support our growth?
It starts with being mindful of the energy we bring to our interactions.
Uh-huh.
Are we showing up as our authentic selves?
Yeah.
Are we setting healthy boundaries? Are we surrounding ourselves with people who lift us up and inspire us?
So it's about being intentional,
Mhm.
about choosing to connect with people who align with our values.
Exactly. And it's also about being willing to let go of relationships that no longer serve us, even if it's difficult.
It can be tough to walk away from those relationships, but sometimes it's necessary for our own well-being.
Absolutely. And remember, creating space for new relationships that support our growth often requires letting go of those that are holding us back.
Okay.
It's like making room in a garden for new plants to flourish. We sometimes need to clear out the weeds that are stealing the nutrients and sunlight.
That's a great analogy.
It highlights the importance of being selective about who we allow into our lives.
Yeah.
And this leads us back to the power of belief, because when we surround ourselves with people who believe in us, who see our potential, even when we doubt ourselves, it can make a world of difference. Their belief in us can become a mirror, reflecting back our own strengths and capabilities, helping us to see ourselves more clearly.
It's like they're holding up a light, illuminating the path ahead, even when we feel lost in the darkness.
Precisely. And that kind of support can be incredibly empowering. It gives us the courage to step outside our comfort zones, to take risks, and to pursue our dreams with a newfound sense of confidence.
It's a reminder that we don't have to do this alone. We can draw strength and inspiration from others, especially those who believe in us wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. And when we surround ourselves with that kind of unwavering support, it becomes easier to believe in ourselves, to embrace our full potential, and to achieve those extraordinary things that once seemed impossible.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. We've explored the power of mindset, the importance of action and resilience, the impact of our social circle, and that transformative power of belief. But I'm curious, what happens when we face those moments of doubt? Those times when our inner critic starts to creep in and we question our ability to achieve our goals?
That's a great question, and it's important to remember that everyone, even the most successful people in the world, experiences moments of doubt. It's part of the human experience.
Hmm.
The key is to not let those doubts control us.
So it's about recognizing those doubts, acknowledging them, but not letting them derail us from our path.
Exactly, and there are a few things we can do to navigate those moments of doubt effectively. One of the most powerful tools is mindfulness.
Mindfulness, how does that help with self-doubt?
Mindfulness is all about being present, about paying attention to our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When those negative thoughts start to spiral, mindfulness allows us to observe them without getting swept away in their current.
Oh,
It's like watching clouds drift by in the sky.
right.
We see them, we acknowledge them, but we don't try to control them or cling to them.
So instead of getting caught up in those negative thought patterns, we can observe them with a sense of detachment, allowing them to pass without taking over.
Exactly. And when we do that, those thoughts lose some of their power. We're no longer at their mercy.
It sounds as mindfulness can help us create some distance between ourselves and those negative thoughts,
Yeah,
giving us more control.
you got it. And here's another powerful technique for combating self-doubt: affirmations.
Affirmations, I've heard of those,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure I fully understand how they work.
Affirmations are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves either out loud or silently. The idea is that by consistently repeating these positive phrases, we can reprogram our subconscious minds to believe them.
So it's like we're planting these seeds of positive belief.
Exactly. Think of it like watering a plant.
Okay.
If we consistently give it water and sunlight, it's going to thrive.
Right.
But if we neglect it, it's going to wither.
So by consistently feeding our minds with these positive affirmations, we're creating an environment where self-belief can flourish.
Precisely. And here's the thing, affirmations don't have to be grandiose or overly complicated.
What kind of affirmations are most effective?
The most effective affirmations are those that resonate with you personally, that feel authentic and believable.
So it's about finding phrases that speak to your own unique challenges and aspirations.
Exactly. And it's about repeating them consistently, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it.
So even when those doubts are swirling, we can use affirmations as a tool to counter those negative thoughts and reinforce a more positive belief system.
Absolutely. It's like creating a mental shield to protect ourselves from those self-sabotaging thoughts.
This is so empowering. It's like we're taking back control of our thoughts and choosing to focus on those that support our growth and our well-being.
Exactly. And the more we practice these techniques, mindfulness, affirmations, surrounding ourselves with positive people, and taking action even when we're afraid, the stronger our self-belief becomes.
It's a reminder that we all have that power within us to cultivate a mindset that supports our dreams
We do.
and helps us navigate those challenges with grace and resilience.
Absolutely. And as we continue to nurture this positive mindset, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities, a world where we can achieve those things that once seemed out of reach. It's like we're taking ownership of our inner world so we can create the outer world we desire.
So true.
And the beautiful thing is that as we cultivate a stronger sense of self-belief, we also become more resilient in the face of challenges. We're less likely to get derailed by setbacks because we know we have the inner strength to overcome them.
So it's like a cyclical process. Belief fuels resilience, and resilience strengthens belief.
Precisely. And this brings us back to the core message we've been exploring throughout this whole deep dive. Changing your mind can truly change your life.
Yeah.
But it's not just about thinking positive thoughts,
Right.
It's about understanding the power of our thoughts, recognizing those that hold us back, and actively cultivating those that support our growth.
It's about taking those thoughts and translating them into action, embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth, and surrounding ourselves with people who inspire us and believe in our potential.
Yeah, and it's about remembering that we are all works in progress.
Right.
We don't have to have it all figured out to start making positive changes in our lives. The journey of personal transformation is ongoing. It's about continually learning, growing, and evolving.
So what does this all mean for our listener? What's the one thing we want them to take away from this deep dive?
Hmm. I would say this. You have the power within you to create the life you desire. It starts with changing your mind.
Right.
It's about shifting your perspective, embracing your potential, and taking consistent action towards your goals. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Surround yourself with people who support your journey and never underestimate the incredible power of believing in yourself.
This has been an incredibly inspiring conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insights with us. I know our listeners are walking away with a renewed sense of hope and a toolbox full of strategies to create positive change in their lives.